Dave, can you give me your take on solution spaces, as the smartcrowds team calls them? Can you explain to me what a solution space is and why do we need them?
Yep, so for us, solution spaces are a really important part of what we call the empowerment maturity model. So at the bottom end of the model, there's one-way consultation. This is usually surveys to gather feedback from employees, but they are normally at a time of the employee's choosing, so the employer's choosing. If we then go halfway up the curve, organisations can move to maybe a deeper involvement using constantly opening listening channels, to gather concerns and questions and things like that. Solution spaces will move up the curve a bit further towards the empowerment section. So this is because we're now encouraging and supporting local or enterprise-wide or cross-functional teams to problem solve together. So we're putting more trust in employees to remove blockers with improvements and innovations that they come up with themselves. So I think the easiest way to describe solution spaces is to think of technical forums that you might join on the internet. So people look for solutions to challenges that they're facing, and the power of the internet crowd that's got lots of experience in that area comes up with the solutions. So it's a great way of removing blockers and generally increasing efficiency of the workforce. And it also means you don't need to always rely on one expert to provide answers as well.
Okay, so if I understand you correctly, what you're saying is that the workforce gets more involved in solving other people's problems?
Yep, exactly that, Stuart. So there is untapped knowledge and experience across every business. So that can be from new starts who bring knowledge and experience in from other companies when they join that you don't know about, or sometimes it's just silos in larger organizations. Ultimately, it means that people who could help you solve your current challenge don't know that you've got something that needs solved. So solution spaces for us, they are about creating groups where people with common skill sets but different perspectives can create a more efficient organisation without having to rely on senior management to spearhead all of the improvement initiatives. And it is a great way of creating a sense of involvement and team spirit. So people love to showcase their own skills and experience, and what better way than helping colleagues get past something that's blocking them from making progress in their job.
Okay, hate to be practical, but from a practical point of view, how might this be organised?
Yeah, well, ultimately these work best when they are self-organising groups, in our view. So by that, I mean people can pick and choose which groups they want to get involved with, but also that people at all levels of the organisation could, if they want to, ultimately start a group that focuses on solving problems, blockers, challenges, etc. at their own level. So, I mean, that's not to say that some structure and governance isn't needed. Alignment to business priorities is something we talk about all the time in smartcrowds, and there's no point in making things better if that better doesn't align to something that's of value to the business. So our advice is to identify some very broad topic areas at various levels of the business, and then communicate those as community spaces for solving problems within that topic, and then let anyone raise things that they need help with. But this is where thinking about the concept of business value is needed. So to keep a focus on people spending time helping others with things that do actually add value to the business, we recommend identifying a few key business alignment measures for each of those spaces that broadly cover how business value is created within that community. So you might have a broad area for, say, I don't know, procurement, and identify a set of key measures that the company would recognise as being their goals within that area of procurement. So that might be things like sustainable purchasing, fair and equitable process, meeting regulatory requirements, things like that. And when someone goes on to submit a problem or a blocker, make sure that they choose which measure this is aligned with in their view. So not only does that keep a focus on what's important to the business, it's also a great way of reinforcing your business priorities every time someone gets involved.
Great. So any final tips on introducing solution spaces as effectively as possible?
Yeah, I think just one more thing that's worth saying in this is that when problems or blockers are being submitted, have a think about what information is being captured. You know, it's all too easy to just get the person to state what their problem is, but you are missing an important chance to get more context. So we usually recommend a problem statement being captured with at least the details that was bring up on the screen just now. So obviously stating what the problem is that you need to find a solution for. Why do you need that solution? What will happen if you don't find the solution? So that helps the people who are proposing possible solutions understand the wider context of the problem and to tackle it in ways that might not have otherwise been obvious. And then what approaches have you already tried to fix it? And that's going to, obviously, it's going to help people not waste their time by trying to fix it or propose solutions that you've already tried. So I think when you create a problem or a blocker in the above format, what you're doing is you're giving the people who might be able to solve it or help you solve it the best possible starting place to make their own judgment call on what might be a good solution for you.